The rain hammered against the penthouse windows, a relentless gray sheet. Inside, the silence was colder. Damien Carter stared at the legal document on his desk, the elegant script spelling out his old rival's final, absurd request. Marcus Thorne was dead. Pancreatic cancer. The news should have tasted like vintage whiskey, smooth and satisfying. Instead, it left an ashy bitterness on his tongue. He's gone. Just like that. The thought was a hollow echo. A lifetime of competition, of boardroom skirmishes and snatched contracts, ended with a florist's delivery and a lawyer's phone call. The lawyer's words replayed. His sole beneficiary and ward is his son, Leo. 12 years old. Mr. Thorne was very specific. He wanted you. A bitter laugh escaped Damien. Marcus's ghost was still playing games. The final, twisted move. The man probably thought it was hilarious. His assistant, Laura, hovered by the door. The investigator found him, Mr. Carter. It's not a good situation. The situation was a condemned warehouse district by the river. The air smelled of rust, damp concrete, and decay. Leo Thorne was a silhouette against a graffiti-scarred wall, a feral shadow grappling with a grown man over a half-eaten sandwich in a torn wrapper. He moved with a desperate, vicious energy, all sharp elbows and bared teeth. When Damien's security finally corralled him into the back of the town car, the boy didn't speak. He just hunched over his prize, devouring the bread with an animalistic focus. His eyes, Marcus's intense, storm-gray eyes, flicking up periodically to assess this new threat. Damien lit a cigarette, the flare of the match illuminating the car's plush interior. He studied the kid. Dirt-smudged, too thin, clothes hanging off his frame. A little wolf, abandoned and starving. Listen, kid, Damien began, exhaling a plume of smoke. Your father. He's passed. Wrong move. The gray eyes flashed, going dark and dangerous. Damien tried again, softening his tone. I meant, Marcus is gone. The boy just stared, his jaw working as he chewed. Laura leaned forward, her voice gentle, explaining the inheritance, the trust, the new life awaiting him. Leo finished the last crust. He wiped his mouth with the back of a grimy hand, looked Damien dead in the eye, and spoke his first word. No. Before Damien could process the refusal, the door handle was flung open. Leo was a bolt of ragged energy, sprinting back toward the broken landscape he knew. 2 strides, and the security detail had him, lifting him off his feet. He thrashed, a whirlwind of bony limbs and silent fury. Damien reached out, a gesture meant to be placating, and brushed a thumb over the boy's too pale cheek. What's so bad about coming with me? I'm offering you a life. In answer, Leo sank his teeth into the meat of Damien's palm. The pain was instant, shocking, a bright, hot lance. Blood welled up in the perfect arc of teeth marks. A wave of anger surged. Who does this? He was Damien Carter. People didn't bite him. They nodded, they agreed, they yielded. He raised his other hand, the one holding the cigarette, ready to cuff the brat. But then he saw them, the boy's eyes wide and glassy, not with rage, but with a grief so profound it stole the air from the car. This wasn't an attack. It was the only language he had left. Mother gone. Father a stranger, now dead. Everything was being ripped away again. The anger dissolved, replaced by a weary understanding. Damien let his hand go lax, pushing it slightly deeper against the small, sharp teeth. A corner of his mouth lifted. Go on then. Finish the job, you little bastard. The pressure ceased. Leo released him, staring at the wound, then up at Damien's face, confusion warring with the lingering despair. Leo moved into the penthouse. Damien introduced him as a cousin's son, come to stay. No one questioned it, at least not to his face. The feral creature from the riverfront was slowly sanded down, polished by private tutors, tailored clothes, and consistent meals. The boy was preternaturally bright, acing every exam, a quiet intensity replacing the earlier wildness. He shot up, a sudden growth spurred in high school leaving him taller than Damien, his shoulders broadening, the softness of childhood melting into lean muscle. The compliance shattered during junior year. Calls from the dean. A fight. Another student in the hospital. Damien sat across from him in the study, the oak desk between them feeling like a canyon. Why, Leo? Give me one good reason. The young man just looked out the window, jaw set, a statue of stubborn silence. The frustration boiled over. Damien was juggling a hostile merger, sleeping 4 hours a night, and now this. Fine, he snapped, the word crisp and final. If you won't talk to me, I can't help you. The trust activates at 18. You can figure it out on your own then. He left for the office, the image of Leo's face. Not angry, but utterly shattered, burning behind his eyes all day. Too harsh. You went too far. The realization was a cold stone in his gut. He returned late to a dark apartment. Moonlight silvered the living room. In his own bedroom, he found Leo, curled on his side on the duvet, clutching one of Damien's discarded sweaters. His cheek was streaked with dried tears. The sight sent a peculiar pang through Damien's chest, something tender and anxious all at once. He sat on the edge of the bed. The mattress dipped, and Leo stirred, his eyes fluttering open. Recognition, then a raw, aching vulnerability. He buried his face against Damien's side, his shoulders shaking. The words were muffled, choked.
I'm sorry.
Please don't be mad. I'll leave, I'll go back, just don't be angry. Back to what? Damien's mind supplied the unwanted image. The warehouse, the hunger, the hollow-eyed loneliness. This tall, capable young man in his arms suddenly seemed as fragile as the 12-year-old he'd been. He remembered advice from a business partner, a father of 3. Sometimes it's not rebellion. It's a cry for help. He rested a hand on Leo's shoulder. I'm not angry, but I need to know what happened. Leo swallowed hard, his voice thick. They said you only took me in because I look like him. That I'm just a stand-in. That when I'm not useful or young anymore, you'll get bored. You'll send me away. The absurdity of it was breathtaking. Leo, look at me. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You are not a replacement for anyone. His tone softened further. You're stuck with me, kid. I've got the funds, and frankly, I'm in too deep to quit now. Leo looked up, his gaze searching Damien's face. Then, with a suddenness that stole Damien's breath, he ducked his head and pressed his teeth against Damien's collarbone. Not biting, but resting there, a possessive primal pressure. You're all I have, he whispered, the words vibrating against Damien's skin. The admission hung in the dark room. Damien's raised hand, meant to shove him away, slowly lowered to rest on the back of his neck. Of course he's afraid, he thought, a surge of protective guilt washing over him. He has no one else. The clinginess intensified. Leo turned down college parties, preferred Damien's company to anyone his own age. He'd text incessantly, demand details of Damien's day. It was endearing, then concerning. Laura mentioned once carefully that such dependency might not be healthy for a young man finding his place in the world. Damien, exasperated one morning when Leo asked for his meeting schedule, scoffed. What are you, my spouse? Give me some air, Leo. The reaction was immediate. A silent spill of tears, a look of pure betrayal. I worry, Leo stammered. And Damien predictably crumbled. All right, I'll send you the calendar. He told himself it was simple devotion. Gratitude, even. So when Leo, home from college for a weekend, called to say he was staying out late for a dorm party, Damien was pleased. He wired extra money, told him to have fun. The call from his driver came at 2 a.m. Leo was drunk, refusing to leave some downtown club. Damien found him in a velvet booth, surrounded by slumped-over classmates. Leo sat upright, preternaturally still, his eyes hazy. When they landed on Damien, They sharpened with a disturbing focus. "You came," he slurred, a slow, satisfied smile touching his lips. He was pliant, letting Damien maneuver him into the car, up the elevator, into his room. As Damien struggled with the buttons of his shirt, Leo watched him, a heavy-lidded, unnerving intensity in his gaze. "Damien," he breathed, the name sounding foreign and intimate on his tongue. Yeah. Sleep it off," Damien muttered, trying to lay him down. Strong arms encircled his waist, pulling him off balance. They tumbled onto the bed. A heartbeat later, the world tilted. Leo's mouth was on his, clumsy, insistent, tasting of sugar and rum. Damien froze, every neuron short-circuited. Then the word came, a hot whisper against his lips. "Damien." He shoved, scrambling backwards so violently he fell off the bed. He fled to the terrace, the night air doing nothing to cool the fire in his veins. His hands shook as he lit a cigarette. Through the glass, he could see Leo, already asleep, face buried in Damien's pillow. He's drunk. He didn't know what he was doing. But the echo of his name, the deliberate press of his lips, argued otherwise. He avoided Leo. Messages went unanswered. The confusion was a live wire in his chest. His oldest friend, Chris, found him brooding in a quiet lounge bar a few nights later. "Spit it out, Carter. You look like you've seen a ghost." After a long drink, Damien mumbled an awkward, hypothetical story about a friend and a wayward ward. Chris's eyebrows shot up. "Finally. I was wondering when the kid would make his move." "What?" "Leo. He's been in love with you for years. The way he looks at you? It's not gratitude, Damien. It's hunger. He tolerates the rest of us because we're part of your world. We're in the way." The words landed like physical blows. The possessiveness, the jealousy Leo always showed toward Chris. It clicked into a horrifying, undeniable picture. "What do I do?" Chris shrugged. "Show him it's impossible. Date someone. He sees you with another man, the fantasy breaks." It was a terrible idea, but panic made it seem logical. Chris knew someone, he said. A nice guy down on his luck. It would be a clean, clinical solution. The someone was Eli, a pale, sharp-eyed young man who met Damien at a cafe near the university. He seemed nervous, swirling his tea. "Chris thinks I have a crush on you," Eli said bluntly. "He's wrong. I'm in love with him. He's just too dense to see it. He set this up because he thinks he's helping you." A sly smile touched his lips. "But I could use a favor. A performance. For his benefit." Before Damien could process the convoluted scheme, Eli's gaze shifted to the street outside. His expression turned theatrical. "Oh look, your problem's here." Damien turned. Leo stood across the street, a still figure amidst the flow of students. His face was a mask of cold fury. Eli moved swiftly, cupping Damien's jaw. "Don't pull away," he hissed. He angled his head, his thumb strategically blocking the actual contact, and the click of his phone camera echoed like a gunshot. From the street, it would look like a kiss. Leo was gone. Damien's heart hammered against his ribs. This was wrong. All of it. He tried to call, but the calls didn't connect. He'd been blocked. Before he could fix it, a crisis erupted at work. A rival firm, Thorn Industries, now run by Marcus's brother, Silas, was threatening a pivotal deal. Damien had to fly out to secure a partnership with a reclusive inventor. Silas was there, already failing spectacularly. He left the meeting sputtering, hurling vague threats. Damien's own meeting was brief and fruitless. The old inventor was irate, dismissive. The deal was dead. Laura, desperate, later murmured that Leo had visited the inventor recently. He'd been seen leaving the building. A chill that had nothing to do with business settled in Damien's bones. Leo had gone behind his back. To help? Or was Laura's unspoken fear true? Did blood ultimately call to blood? He returned home early, driven by a dark anxiety. Leo was sick, burning with fever. Damien hovered by the bed, guilt and worry a tangled knot in his throat. As he pressed a cool cloth to Leo's forehead, the young man's eyes opened, glazed and desperate. "I can be like him if that's what you want," Leo rasped. "What are you talking about? You're delirious." But the next night, Damien awoke to a figure standing in his bedroom darkness. The profile, the set of the shoulders. For a heart-stopping second, he saw Marcus Thorne. He jolted upright, a shout caught in his throat. The figure spoke with Leo's voice. "It's me." Under the light, the illusion was makeup, cleverly applied, and a suit cut in an outdated style. The absurdity of it, the profound misunderstanding, hit Damien like a wave. He lit a cigarette, hand trembling. "You think this is about your father? You think I pined for him? I couldn't stand the man. We were rivals. That's all." He explained tersely the truth. The professional friction, the grudging respect that fell far short of obsession. The promise he'd made on a whim because he could, and because leaving a child in squalor was something even he wouldn't do. Leo listened, the manufactured wrinkles on his face looking suddenly foolish. "So you don't see him when you look at me?" "I see you, Leo. Only you. The infuriating, brilliant, pain-in-my-ass you." He gestured to the makeup. "Get this off. Now." Later, clean-faced and in his own clothes, Leo knelt on the bed, chastised. Damien tried to explain the photo, the setup with Eli. His phone, with the evidence, had been damaged. He called Chris, who, amid sounds Damien chose not to analyze, confirmed the story. Leo's fever returned. Damien ordered him to sleep, the larger conversation tabled. But the next day, at the office, the final piece slotted into place. Laura handed him his repaired phone, her expression grave. A forensic check had revealed spyware. Sophisticated. Tracing back to his own home network. "He was in the city," Laura said quietly. "He saw the inventor. He must have negotiated the deal for you. And then he met with Silas Thorne. Mr. Carter, his loyalty, the pieces connected. The salvage deal. Leo's sudden illness. Silas's venom. He wasn't betraying Damien. He was protecting him in his own reckless way. And Silas knew." Damien's blood went cold. He demanded the address of the meeting. The scene downtown was chaos. Sirens. Smoke. 2 cars mangled together, one a pyre. The world narrowed to that flames. He couldn't breathe. Then arms wrapped around him from behind, solid and real. Leo's voice was in his ear, steady. "I'm here." The relief was a tidal wave, so powerful it erased every boundary, every prudent thought. In the car, then the elevator, then the stark foyer of the penthouse, a dam broke. It was not gentle. It was a collision of fear, rage, and a truth he could no longer outrun. He pushed Leo against the wall and kissed him, a claiming, a surrender. Later, tangled in sheets, Leo traced the line of Damien's jaw. "You knew about the tracker," he stated. "I figured it out. You weren't angry." Damien considered the lie, then discarded it. "It was your way of staying close. A twisted form of keeping me safe." He caught Leo's wandering hand. "But the game ends now. No more secrets." Leo's smile was slow, triumphant. He shifted, his weight a welcome pressure. "No more secrets," he agreed before lowering his mouth. The world dissolved into sensation. Damien arched, grasping at the solid planes of Leo's back, the coherent world fracturing into light and feeling. A gasp was torn from him. "You little, don't," but the protest was meaningless, and they both knew it. He was utterly, completely claimed. Chris had been right. He'd fallen, and there was no getting up. Silas Thorne's downfall was swift and merciless. Damien orchestrated it with a cold glee, dismantling his empire piece by piece. When the old Thorne patriarch came begging, offering Leo a place at the helm of the ruined company, Leo simply shrugged. "I'm a researcher. If you give it to me, I'll donate every asset to renewable energy startups. Your choice." After the sputtering old man left, Damien laughed until his sides ached, leaning into Leo's solid frame. "You wicked thing. That's my influence." Leo nuzzled into his neck, his voice a low rumble. "I'm a kept man now, Damien. You'll have to support my expensive research habits." Damien turned, catching his lips in a slow, deep kiss. "I can manage that," he murmured against his mouth. His hands slid down, settling on Leo's hips with a firm, deliberate pressure. "But the position does have its requirements." A challenging glint lit Leo's eyes. He easily reversed their positions, his grip possessive. "We can negotiate the terms," he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "But I believe I have seniority in this particular department."